We got to talk about more about what's going on with healthcare because open enrollment is in full swing right now, and it can certainly be a stressful time for both employers and also for employees. Whether you're looking to add or update your health coverage benefits, Americans do easily get flustered, meeting one of them, over which healthcare options you should choose. So how do you choose the right plan for you? Do you go with the cheapest option? Or how do you evaluate, I guess, what makes most sense for you and your family? Joining us as part of Yahoo Finance's Healthcare Week is Jeri Hawthorne, Aflac U.S. Chief HR Officer. We also have our very own health reporter, Anjalee Khemlani, here to help us break down what is a very complex topic, I think, for many, or intimidating topic, I should say, right now. So, Jeri, what is the top thing, or I guess, what do maybe people taking a step back need to take into consideration when they're starting to evaluate which options for healthcare would make the most sense for them and their families?
Yeah, I first of all, thank you for the opportunity. And I would tell you that I think one of the biggest things is that health insurance and planning for health expenses is probably one of the biggest known unknowns, meaning that you can save all you can and never need that money, or you can deplete it in a year. And so my advice for families is to actively review, become educated consumers, and think about healthcare planning almost like you're thinking about financial planning. Leverage tax-efficient vehicles like FSAs and HSAs. Go through and review the options that employers are offering. In our Aflac Workforces Report, we found that almost 90% of employees do passive enrollment, which means they just put the same thing that they did the year before. They may not want to do that. They may want to take the opportunity to actually dig in and review and get a deeper understanding of their benefits so that they can maximize the offerings that their companies are providing.
Jeri, certainly a huge task here at Yahoo. I know there's about 13 links, 7 videos, and a really long website that explains what our benefits are. So it is not easy and very time consuming for the average individual, but the companies do take the time to put these benefits together. And to the point on your surveys, we've seen increasing diversity in benefits and broader options, things like mental and digital health. I wonder, in context of the weight loss frenzy that's happening right now, the drugs key and center, do you see a shift in how employers are thinking about coverage for things like that, and including those GLP-1s?
Yeah, I mean, I think employers are trying to meet employees where they are, right? One of the outcomes of the pandemic is that we're whole people, I guess is what I would say, instead of just an employee of a company. And so what I've seen employers do is to try to identify offerings that employees are stating that they want. It's interesting, in our report, we found that almost 80% of employers think that employees understand the benefits, while actually fewer than half do. So I really think the big opportunity is that employers need to not only listen to their employees with what they want, but also to actively communicate what those offerings are on a regular basis. You know, we're in open enrollment right now. This is a great time for employers to kind of put out the glossy brochures and all those fun videos. But the key is really to actively communicating with employees on an ongoing and consistent basis, following trends that are out there and making sure that their employees are aware of what's happening.
At the same time, all of this costs the companies money. We're looking at, with that broader diversity of offerings, how do you think that companies are thinking about where to make cuts and what to offer?
Yeah, that's a hard one because, you know, I've seen expenses going up anywhere. I've seen a few reports between 5 and 8% for companies going into 2024. And I think that, you know, I don't believe that companies will actually start cutting things. What I think is that there will be an increase in cost sharing between employers and employees. And so if that means increasing premiums, if it means increasing copays, out-of-pocket deductibles, I think that's what employers will do in order to help to offset those expenses. Now, that also reinforces why employees need to become better educated consumers of their benefits. You know, what's the phrase? An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. And so what I mean by that is it's really important for employees to maximize the services and the preventative offerings that their employers provide. You know, go get wellness screenings, go get physicals, get mammograms, get colonoscopies, all of those things. It's better to find out things earlier and leverage preventative care than it is to wait and to have higher expenses in the longer term. Our products at Aflac, from a supplemental perspective, they're intended to help offset those expenses, and offering supplemental products is something that some companies have started to do to help employees to better manage their expenses. In our report, we found that 87% of employees of companies that offer supplemental health insurance would recommend that to others. So again, maximizing those preventative services, supplementing those expenses, and helping employees better understand the offerings that companies have.
An ounce of prevention is worth a pound of cure. You got some poetry slam snaps from me
I
over
do.
here on that
That's
one,
right.
Jeri. Look, lastly, while we have you, this has been a major year for some labor renegotiations. How has that changed, where a lot of the enrollment process, but as well as the benefits offered, have perhaps shifted at this point in time?
Yeah, luckily, well, I hate to say luckily because it's not necessarily luckily, it depends on your point of view, but we're not an employer that has unions. And so it's not something that in my role I have to pay a lot of attention to on a day-to-day basis, though I've been following it. And I would just say that, it is a trend that I think companies are seeing in general, union or non-union. What I mean by that is employees want employers to think about them as whole people, whether they're part of a union, whether they're not part of a union. Companies really need to think about not just Jeri, the employee of Aflac, but Jeri, the mom, Jeri, the person who likes to go out to eat on weekends. They need to think about their employees in a more holistic way. And that's really a trend that I think is happening not only with unions and labor relations, but with all employees across the U.S.
All right, excellent insights, analysis. Great to get your perspective on this. Jeri Hawthorne, Aflac U.S. Chief HR Officer, and our very own Anjalee Khemlani as part of our own Healthcare Week. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.